Hello, welcome back to a new video and the introduction to the Linux command line series. In this video, we're going to look at the help command and the man for manual command and other commands that allow us to get help or documentation for the command that we were working with. So if this sounds like fun, continue watching. Let me show you the manual command. So you type in man and then maybe ls for a command. And if you hit enter, you get a manual for the command ls. And you can browse it using the same keys that we learned in a previous video when we were working with the less command. So U and D for page up and down, and then J for one line down, and K for one line up. Right, so what we have here is name, list directory contents, ls, synopsis, like a general summary on like how you use it. It's ls, you give it an option, and then you give it a file, or multiple options, multiple files. And then the description. So it's a command for listing files and perhaps sorting them if you want. And you can use these options. So we've looked at some of them. So the A option for all. I don't believe we looked at the author or B, for instance. There are a lot of options. So if you keep scrolling, so you can go and read and figure out what you can do with the ls command. Isn't that cool? I'm going to try and man for instance, cd. It says no manual entry for cd. So it turns out when you install a new command, you install typically, not always, manual pages for that command. If you execute type ls, you get that ls is a executable. It's a command. And if you use the command which I don't believe we looked at this command, and you give it ls, it will show you, similar to the type command, this one will show you the location on the disk where the command lives. All right, so if you try and use which for cd, it's not going to show you anything, because if you execute type cd, it says it's a shell built in. So shell built-ins do not have manual pages typically. And the way to get help for a shell built-in command is to use the help command. So help cd, and that's going to print out a help page. And it's essentially kind of similar. So you get cd, and then you get the kinds of things that you can use with the command. We've used it, I believe, with only dir or directory. So change the shell working directory, change the current directory to dir, which is this guy. And you can read through and some of the stuff we haven't actually covered in the course yet. So now we've seen the distinction between, so remember from the previous video, we had 4 types of commands. So the executable, the shell built-ins, and the aliases. Aliases don't typically have manual pages, and the shell functions also don't have manual pages. So the 2 types that would have manual pages or would have help in general would be the built-ins and the executable. So if you type in help and you're trying to get help for an executable, it says no help topics that match ls. Try help man k ls. So it's actually telling me to try to use the man command for ls. Now, many executable commands would have help as a built-in option. So you could type in -- help, and that would also bring a help page. So you might be wondering, where are these pages stored? So I'm going to show you a location in /user/share/man. So this location is where your manual pages are stored. You got your man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and those would be in English, I suppose. And then you would have, if the command has localization supported, then it would probably have created manual pages for the country / the language region, such as like Espanol, French, what else? Russian, I guess. UK, that's for UK English, etc. So your commands and functions are stored in those manual pages. And I've the screenshot here to show you, for instance, in man1, you've got your user commands such as the ls command that we've seen. So like when you go man ls, you see that it says here between parentheses 1. So that's your, let me bring back the picture. Your user command, you've got system calls, library functions, special files, device drivers, file formats, games, miscellaneous, and admin system commands. And so if you go in, for instance, FR, you would see replication of the folders. So I guess for the man1, they have those commands localized in French. And same goes for every language, but for, I guess, the US English. If we go in man1, and then we look for, I'm actually going to run Thunar, my file browser, and I'm going to look for the ls command. So that's the ls command. Everything is in a GZ format, which is a compression format. I guess you could open with Archive Manager, and then you'd see there's a text file here. So if I open that with mousepad, you'd see, so if I put this side by side with mousepad, you would spot the similarities here. It says name, ls, list directory, contents, ls, list directory. Now, of course, this is formatted. You see some bold, you see some alignment going on there. So I'm not actually sure how this works, but it looks like that these symbols are basically formatting how the terminal is going to display the documentation, basically. So these are the locations where you would find these files. So if you want to search through all your documentation for a specific term, there is a command called apropos. Now, don't ask me what this means. So I actually asked Google, and this is what it has to say. So you're welcome to read that. But in any case, you can give it any keyword. So ls, and it's going to search for all the occurrences where ls is mentioned in your commands documentation, and you see the place where it's mentioned and the manual category, and then it is giving you the whatis command line sound recorder, whatever. So there's the actual ls entry. So sometimes I would use this command for if I didn't know how to do something, but I'm interested in finding the command that might actually help me do the thing. So for instance, search. Let's search for that and see what possible commands we can use to search. See, there's a find command here. Search for files in hierarchy, in a directory hierarchy. So I can go man find, and then I can start learning about the find command. So, well, there is Google, you can Google things, but if you would like the old-fashioned way, it also works. So you can try that. And that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you found it useful. If you have, you know what to do. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.